Hey, hey, hey. We're back.
Hi.
Another week, another episode. This is Ainoa.
And I'm Amanda. Tonight is going to be our first paranormal episode. And it's all my fault, guys. So, tonight we are going to be talking about the world's largest asylum, which is a very creepy place here in Georgia. All right, y'all. So, this was not a planned situation. However, I moved to Georgia. Well, I mean, I moved here years ago. I didn't just move here like yesterday. Anyways, when I moved to Georgia, um, it's not necessarily that I go and seek weird things. However, they always seem to find me. And
Hmm.
when I moved here, the first 2 things that I heard people talking about, and now mind y'all, like out where I live, we don't really have like the news. Like I can watch Atlanta's news and I can watch Greenville's news, but there's not like a North Georgia Mountain news station. So this was all word of mouth and conversations that I had had with people. But I heard about 2 spooky places that are kind of up where I'm at. And those 2 places were Lake Lanier and Milledgeville Asylum. So, Milledgeville, which is also known as Central State Hospital, was one of the largest, not one of the largest mental asylum in the world.
Wow.
Right. And when you say things like that, you're like, "Oh, it's a mental hospital." Y'all. Central State Hospital. So we're gonna call it you know what? I'm just gonna call it Milledgeville. I know that's the town's name, but Milledgeville is what everyone locally refers to this place as. Um, but it the buildings were placed on 1,750 acres.
Ooh, that's a lot of land.
Right. So, this wasn't just like one building, which originally, when I started hearing about Milledgeville, I had heard people say, in the other buildings, but I thought they meant like, I don't know, like the dining hall or something. I didn't realize until this week that it is huge, huge. I happened to be driving by there. Not really. I was riding by there with someone else. Um, and me and her decided kind of impromptu that we were going to go. And we went and I got some footage, and it's the creepiest, scariest footage I've seen in a really long time. Um, so I want to share some of that with y'all. But I also want to explain a little bit more about Central State Hospital or Milledgeville. So, you know, this place was created in 1842.
That's a long time ago.
I know I tried to do the math earlier and my brain just can't math the math for some reason.
That's why I paused because I was gonna try to say how many years ago it was, so that I
It's
was,
like 180 years ago or something like that. Um,
yeah, sounds about right.
and by the 1960s is when it had grown to the world's largest. So it only took it like 40 years to become the world's largest asylum.
Is
Now I
that where
also
did they
so
house
that's
people?
really funny because sorry, I just said the 1960s and I said only 40 years. That's 140 years, y'all. 120 years. Never mind, I can't math at all. It's 120 years is all it took for it to become the world's largest. But go ahead with your question, sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that they needed to be so big because of the people in Georgia being crazy, or like
Of course.
Or did they
Um,
send people there from all over the United States?
so it started slowly. Um, and when it first started, it was more of a Georgia thing. Like it was just locals knew about it, and then it spread a little bit further. And then, of course, they wanted to start bringing stuff in. When the hospital was founded, it was called the Georgia State Lunatic, Idiot, and Epileptic Asylum.
That hits my heartstrings because, like, my daughter Layla's epileptic, so to know that back then they were so ignorant around about that disease that they would just throw these children, you know, off to an asylum, that's crazy to me. Absolutely crazy. But
Well, and another thing that I don't know if a lot of you know, but up until the 1960s, most people that were brought into this asylum were brought in under the diagnosis of idiocy.
I got some people that could go there right now. Are they still taking like submissions or like people to send? Yes, man. Oh
Um,
man. I got a list.
but but until then, they didn't understand that mental health had many different diagnoses, schizophrenia, bipolar, depression, any of that. Also, back then, it was wildly accepted that if your wife talked back or misbehaved, then instead of divorcing her, you could just drop her off at the asylum because she wasn't listening, so she must be mentally ill.
Oh fuck me.
Yeah, I mean, y'all would have had to have a reason. I wish somebody would tell me they were taking me to Milledgeville back then. I'd have just shot them. Like, screw it. If I'm gonna go, I'm gonna have a reason. Like, y'all gotta have a reason to put me. But see, I'm also one of those people that like make the best of every situation. So I probably would have been I would have done really well there, except for the fact that they pretty much killed everybody.
Yeah.
Um,
But if they
and
let you,
that's
you would have started a newspaper, like a therapy group, like
I
you would
would
have.
have, man. I would have been organized. We would have had, weekly meetings. It would have been great,
In a
you
few
know?
months, you would have probably been the director of operations at the asylum.
That's me. That's 100% me. Oh, that's so funny. Um, but so the sad part is, one of the biggest things that is said about Milledgeville here in Georgia is pretty much everybody that went there never got to leave. Um, and so now here's kind of the scary part. Like the 200 buildings there amongst the 200,000 acres, almost 200,000 acres that, at one time they could house up to 12,000 patients.
Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah. Um,
And I'm guessing, I'm guessing because it's the South, right? If did they send it, they did send African American patients there as well, but it was segregated, correct?
correct.
I think I've read something about that. And like the conditions for African Americans were way worse, if that's
Well,
even
not only were
possible.
were they way worse, but they made the African Americans work there at the asylum also.
So even though slavery wasn't legal anymore, uh,
It was at there.
yeah, okay.
All the way up, yeah, all the way up until about the same time between the 40s and the 60s. And that's when it became more state regulated. But because it was state regulated supposedly and funded that entire time, but nobody really knew what was going on in this place. They would hear stories, but they would come back and they'd be like, "Oh, sorry, 1,000 patients died of pneumonia this month." And Georgia State was just like, "Okay." Families weren't notified when their loved ones passed.
That
Um,
sucks.
yeah.
I read that a lot of women pass from hysterectomies.
Yes, so hysterectomies would happen because this was a co-ed asylum,
Hmm.
which means women would get pregnant. have babies and raise those babies in the asylum. They wouldn't get to raise their own child typically. Typically, that child, because they must be crazy to have gotten pregnant by another crazy person. So that child would be handed off to a more properly behaved asylum patient.
Hmm.
Uh,
Okay.
right. Now, there were at one point there was over 13,000 patients there and 48 doctors. And the reason that I said doctors is because some of those doctors were also currently patients, which is what makes me believe that if I was there back then, I could have been the operations director because apparently they hired within, literally.
Oh, wow.
Um,
But you said, hold on, because I'm mathing with my calculator. You said 13,000 divided by 48.
mhm.
That's 271 patients per doctor.
I mean, that's not a lot. I mean, you get 40 hours a week to work, right? And back then, I think it was like 31 hours was full time. No big deal. That means you get to see each patient for 2.5 minutes and you move forward.
That's
I don't know.
um,
Maybe I should have been a doctor back then. No, stop it, Amanda. Because what these people went through was horrible. So I don't know all of what they went through because if you start doing research on Milledgeville, you can't really find a whole lot on the internet. Now you can find a lot on YouTube. I will give YouTube that, but that's because so many people have come out to Milledgeville, podcasters, YouTubers, different news stations, places like that. And now that everything's kind of out in the open, people are being very honest about what happened there. And I mean, there's still nurses alive now that will tell you the horrible things that happen there. And that's all over YouTube. And I'm not going to, you can go Google those things and look it up. But as far as like Google itself, you're not going to find a whole lot. Um, and it's because the things that happened here were atrocious. A lot of these, and by the way, this is also the most haunted site in the Southeast. So for
oh,
all my paranormal people out there, call me, let's meet up. That way I have somebody with me when I get scared. Um, because you're actually going to see a bit of a reaction from me today. Um, when I got a little freaked out just being there for the little bit of time I was there. I only spent like 45 minutes to an hour in this area because I didn't have time. But moving forward, it wasn't until sorry, let me back up just a little. Y'all know I do this all the time. So, back then, they would use electric shock therapy to try to stop seizures, to try to stop schizophrenia, to try to stop depression, and to try to stop being bipolar. Hey, just shock their brain. Um, and if if the electric shock therapy didn't work that day, they would come back the next day, and the next day, and the next day, till eventually they killed a lot of these people.
yeah, they also sorry, but didn't they do lobotomies as well? Because I know that that was a common practice to do a lobotomy on people.
Correct. They did lobotomies on people. They also, if people were aggressive in any way, so let's say you got in a fight with your, I want to say cellmate because when y'all look at this place, it looks like a prison. But I guess roommate, if you got in a fight with your roommate, and you were too aggressive and they didn't think there was anything they could do to help, they would put you in the snake pit. And the snake pit was located behind the hospital, and it is where they would drop people to die. Um, when I tell you that they found ways to kill people off, these people were tortured. They were chained to walls. They were beaten. They were, and it doesn't. Could you imagine as a person being dropped off at a hospital because you talk back to your husband and then have electric shock therapy 3 days later. Um, I don't know how to say on any level that not only am I blessed to be in the generation that I'm in, but if I was born in the wrong generation, y'all, I would have died because I don't know how to not talk back. Um, it's one of my greatest strengths. It's why I'm a manager, because I know how to argue. But anyways, okay. So it was not until and by the way, y'all, here is Milledgeville Central State Hospital, one of the buildings, just
This
one.
building is kinda pretty, to be honest with you. I wouldn't
Yeah, and
mind
this is
making it
how it
like a
used
bread and breakfast.
right, it's how it used to look. It used to be beautiful. Um, and then let me just put up a couple of pictures here. This was kind of a dining type hall, and you can see this is years after it shut down. There's vines overgrowing and things like that. But when it was abandoned, it was abandoned.
Mm,
Um, right here, these are some nurses,
patience. Oh,
and the
or
yeah,
patient.
this is a patient that was with the nurses getting electric shock therapy.
Wow.
Um, this is how the people would sleep. Some would be in small rooms if they had to be separated, and others slept in large, long halls in these beds.
Hmm.
Um,
Kinda like a boarding school.
right, absolutely. And then
Oh, that's a kid.
in a cage.
A poor baby.
Exactly. And see, that's kind of the hard part for me is to know that I know there were lots of adults there that didn't deserve it either, but to know that there were children there also that didn't deserve things, it breaks my heart, y'all. But it's also they say why they feel it's one of the reasons why the place is such a hot spot for paranormal activity. Um, and now let me tell you from the experience from when I was there is the locals fly through that area as fast as they can.
Hmm.
And you're actually gonna kinda witness that in one of our videos because we didn't understand at first why everybody was driving so fast because it's like 25 miles an hour and people will speed past you like 60. And you're just like, "Why is everybody rushing through here?" But the moment you get onto that campus, your heart races, and it's not just a, "Oh, I was excited" thing because I was actually kinda nervous because it's a paranormal site, it's a hotspot. And I being who I am, pull in so much energy all the time from things. So I was a little nervous, but my heart was racing, and I felt the entire time I was on the campus, the hair on my arms was standing up. I was like shivering cold. I mean, now mind you, I was there in Georgia in the mountains in November. So I mean, it's cold.
Yeah.
But it was a different kind of cold. It was like a cold inside, like in your brain and in your chest, and I don't know how to explain it other than that. Um, and to go on, with a little bit about Milledgeville, in 2007, so not long ago, guys, I would have been in my early 20s. That is when 42 suspicious deaths at the asylum happened, which had already been downsized and renamed Central State Hospital at this time. But that's finally when the US Department of Justice, the federal government, started investigating.
Hmm.
At that point, this facility already had over 25,000 deaths.
Ooh, wow. That's a small city.
Yeah, I mean, that's 15,000 of my city. Um, that's what it feels like. I mean, but I mean, logically, that's 25 of my cities. So I mean, I live in a small town, but there's still 25 of them. But yeah, I mean, it killed off they killed off so many people. The They announced in 2010 that the asylum would be closed for good,
Thank
but it's
God.
not.
Oh, it isn't.
No, which you'll also see today. So, um, instead, it has become the state's treatment and custodial center for justice system referrals and commitments. So, what that means is if you in the state of Georgia plead guilty, however, you plead guilty and you have a mental disability, or you plead guilty and you're, guilty of the crime, but you were marked insane. Instead of going to prison, you spend the rest of your life in an asylum. This is the asylum you get sent to.
Ooh.
Yeah. Talk about a little bit of fear there. Um, it currently houses like 182 people. So and
I'd be scared because I know there's
listen,
ghosts.
well, and not just that, but like when you drive by the part that houses the 182 people, um, it doesn't look like it doesn't look hard to escape from.
Okay.
And y'all will see. Y'all will see when I show you. It is almost scary. However, and the people that are there are like, again, they're people and they have mental disabilities. And I don't agree with people with a mental defect if they're really insane that they should go to prison if something because they don't understand what they've done or understand the reactions of their actions. So I do agree with them people going there, but it's treated just like a regular mental hospital where they have, multiple visitation times and group events, and they take them to do fun things, um like, movie day and things like that, which I am a little taken aback by because I don't want to go to the movie on the same day as the Central State Hospital patients, because what if one of them has a bad day? I don't want to be the murdered person. um
But I'm
but
guessing I mean, I don't know if you know or because I don't know, but I'm guessing that it's like a minimum security type of thing. Like I'm guessing if it's like
wrong.
Ted Bundy type of situation, they wouldn't send
You are
him.
absolutely wrong, though. It flat says everywhere you look it up now. It is a maximum security prison. As well, it's a maximum security asylum.
And they take him to movie day?
Well, and that's the thing. So there's only 3
Oh my
open days.
god. I am so sorry, Amanda. Guys, I thought somebody was behind you. I was about to warn you.
Talking about my little face mask.
Yes, I was about to say, Amanda, run. Screw this
My little
episode. You need to get
Milledgeville
out of your
friend.
house.
It's my Milledgeville friend, guys.
Oh,
Well, see, at least somebody notices my random new additions. Eventually, y'all will start paying attention to every single week I add something to my podcast area. Um,
but anyways,
Week I know I noticed.
I did because it scared me. I was like, oh my god, there's somebody behind her. Amanda, run. But then I realized it was a mask. So continue.
So, yes, again, it's a maximum security asylum. Um, and I don't know if movie day is something that they do there, like on campus somewhere. It's very possible.
I
And
would think
maybe
so.
it'll be a situation where, you can only go to movie day if you're considered, I guess healed isn't the right answer, but if you're on the right concoction of mental health medicines to be stable. Maybe it's a stabilized thing. Like, okay, all stable people get to go to movie day.
Yeah,
Uh,
maybe if they're like not a danger to society and stuff like that. I don't know. Maybe.
right. Maybe. Um, so altogether on the 5 cemeteries that are on the campus, um, there are approximately 35,000 graves. And the reason there can only be an approximation is because for the first, like, 5,000 people, they marked the graves with their names, and so their families could come and find them, and then they stopped, and the rest are unmarked,
Hmm.
um, in fields, and you don't know where they're at.
I feel like I'm sorry. I mean, that doesn't say much about me, but I hate paperwork. I feel like after 25 after I feel like after a few thousand, I'll be, like, tired of writing names. Like, "Man, just."
Well, and back then, it's not like they had an engraver, so they had to, like, hand chip things in the stone, to do the little markers, but, yeah, so they don't really know exactly how many bodies are there,
Wow,
um,
that
and,
sucks.
because if the families like, let's say you were a low income household and you dropped a family member there, they wouldn't
Mhm.
even contact you when your family member died because they knew you couldn't afford the funeral costs. So they would just cremate them and put them in the ground. So
That
many
is
patients
shitty.
were completely unclaimed, and many patients' families didn't even know of their death. Um, so that is kind of a brief history, very brief history on Milledgeville. And now we're going to kind of go into some of the trip of what I did. And we're going to go through each slide. It is kind of posted as a video, so I'm just going to pause it after each one. And where we're going to start is right where when we pulled up, at the moment that I realized we were on the Milledgeville campus. Um, and again, this place has been shut down since 2007, and so we're in 2024. So I can't math right now. 15 years.
Yeah,
And
around
now
there.
and I also wanna remind y'all that a lot of these buildings were shutting down slowly as patients, because they didn't always have that many patients. When it started to dwindle down, they started to shut down more buildings. But this place is so abandoned and overgrown now. But let me go ahead and add it to. So this first slide right here is the very first building that you see as you pull on the campus. And it doesn't look too bad. It looks like somebody mowed the grass. All the windows are boarded up. But it's also the only building that you can kind of see from the main road there. So it's
Mhm.
kind of like they purposely did it like that so that it doesn't look too horrible as people drive by really fast.
Okay.
And then we move on. So as we come around the corner, this was the front side of this building. Um, and I kinda struggled when we first were driving around because to me, it kinda looked like the backside because I couldn't really see stairs, but underneath this little porch thing right here, even though you can't see it in this picture, there is a door.
Yeah.
Um, and so that's what happens when you first come around that side, and then this beautiful white building I showed you at the beginning
Mhm.
is called the Powell Building, and that's the
Okay.
first building I went to see.
Could we read the sign? Listen, I
Oh,
go back.
no, we can't. No, we can't, y'all. I'm not really good with video things, as far as moving the slides along, so please excuse my ignorance.
That's
Alright,
it. I'm
so
sending you to Milledgeville.
they'll accept me. I could be the director of operations.
Okay.
So, can you read it?
I think so. It says under the care of Superintendent Dr. The Theophilus. What's his name?
Use his last name.
Dr. Powell. From 1879 to 1987, the institution adjusted to more accurate and innovative methods of diagnosis to recognition. In recognition of his king. Hold on, I can't. Let me try to make this bigger because.
In recognition of his long devoted service.
Oh, okay. In recognition of his long devoted service to the institution, the Beard Show.
Maybe make it bigger.
And that's what I'm trying to do, but apparently you're not good at slides, videos, and I'm not good
Well,
at
I have
making
horrible
screens.
vision.
You have horrible vision. It
Yeah,
won't.
like in person, I couldn't even read the sign where I was standing in front of it.
Okay, so I'm just gonna look really weird in the camera. Okay, the board show the most noteworthy building in the sanitarium to be known as the T.O. Powell Building. It was designed to resemble the state's U.S. Capitol in Washington D.C. So that's why it looks kind of like the White House.
Right.
The four middle doors of the building are used for administrative offices, including those of the CSH Redevelopment Authority. There you go. That's what it says.
All right. And just so y'all know, y'all can barely see these pictures here, even in person.
Okay, yeah, because it doesn't look like this. Like the sign is very well cared for, unless
No, because
that's an aesthetic that
everything
they're
was
going for.
yeah, so everything was supposed to be shut down back in 2007.
Okay.
Um, so moving forward, then I got a picture of me in front of the building, which was really weird because we took multiple pictures. And for some reason, this was the best one. Like all the other ones are blurry. I look distorted. This one, I'm just being shot by the sun. So I accepted it because it was the best we could get. And also, when we went there, that's the furthest you could get. Like they had cones up, and if you cross those cones, then you would be in trouble.
Like
So
what
I
they
had
were
to,
gonna. You should have just gone past the cone so they could have given you a tour.
so I actually really wanted to go past the cones. But the person that I was with was very, very like before we even got there, like, hey, we cannot go to jail while we're here. And I'm kind of a rebel and would push the limit and play dumb at the end. You know, I even though they admitted people here for idiocy, I was willing to take the risk. But that, she wasn't. So there's that. But and then so I zoomed in and took this picture. And I try not to do this much, y'all. But these things are creepy, and I can't really do it on here, but you can go ahead and pause the video if you'd like to at this point, and you can zoom in, zoom in, and you can look in all these windows because I feel like all of them is a little creepy. If you want to find a ghost, and me and I know I kind of talked about this earlier, how the brain is kind of, what is the word? Disposition to find faces.
Yeah, it's wired to find faces. I told you there was like a name for it, but I forgot what the name of it is. Um while you're talking, I'm gonna Google it just to tell
Okay.
our people.
But I will tell you, it does look like even in the dirt, it looks like you can see people screaming in the windows. It's just very creepy. Now, from the moment that I stood in front of this place, I felt a presence of odd and weird, and I might want to leave now. Um, and so Then we move forward just a little bit more. Did you get that name?
No, I'm
Okay, we'll come back to you. So, we did that, and then while we're right there, um,
I got the name. Hold on.
what is
It's
it?
called pareidolia. It's the pareidolia effect. It's a
Okay, so the
tendency
pareidolia
that can
effect.
lead, yeah, that can lead to seeing faces and non-facial patterns, like clouds or textures. Yeah,
Or dirt on windows.
yeah.
So I mean, yeah, it really just depends. So now, y'all, while I'm there, I decided to start looking around. Now, when me and my friend pulled up in front of this building, there was nobody around us. And then we get out, and I kind of like turn to look around, and we see this guy.
Hmm.
It looks normal enough, right?
Yeah, I
Whatever
guess.
he's doing. At first we thought maybe he was picking up pecans, but when you get closer, all these little brown things are leaves, and those aren't pecan trees. So,
What is he doing?
I don't know, but don't worry, there's more. So, I see him and I'm a little creeped out. And then so you'll see in this video, y'all, and let me pause it so you don't hear the sound for just a second, that I then turn to start to look at the rest of the field and see more people doing the same thing. And I'm a little creeped out, and you're gonna hear what I say because I immediately switched to video.
Hmm.
I don't know what the hell these people are doing with their shovels walking around in circles. And let me go ahead and say now, trigger warning for vulgar language. Me and my friend that went may or may not have potty mouths.
I don't want to get arrested. Probably get some stuff. I was there. Oh my God.
Christina. What are these people doing? But you can see them too, right? Sorry, y'all. I had to make sure I wasn't seeing ghosts. I was like, you can see them too, right? All right. I'm here. I came. I'm about to go to the main building and take a picture too. But I'm on the campus right now. Milledgeville State Hospital. And I don't know what these creepy people are doing over here with little shovels. You too. Nice to meet you.
Mm. That dude appeared out of nowhere. The one behind the sign.
So, right. And that was kind of the creepy thing is before I started recording that video, as soon as we got there, like I said, nobody else was there. The moment we stepped out of the vehicle, all of a sudden there was a black truck.
Mhm. It was the
And we were like,
FBI.
it was so weird. It was like it got dropped there out of the sky or something and was just like there because it wasn't there when we pulled up. So then that person got out and he approached us, and it was weird only because, like, I know the South is considered really nice, but anyone that knows me knows that my RBF is like strong. So typically people won't approach me and say anything because they look at me and think that I'm this mean, evil creature that I'm not because I'm super nice. Um, but this guy just walked right up and he was like, "What do y'all know about this place?" And I was like, "Well, not much. I mean, I know that for a long time, people in Georgia said it was an urban legend, and then they found out that everything was true. And I know kind of the basics of what happened, but that's it." And he goes, "Yeah, I'm just in town, working." And I was with a friend who was constantly looking for like additional vendors for things. So she was like, "Oh, what kind of work do you do?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm a groundsman in a cemetery."
Hmm.
And she was like, "Oh, and you're in town?" And he goes, "Yes." And it was just the weirdest interaction. And up until the point that he called his brother on FaceTime, and typically ghosts don't use phones.
Hey, you
At
never
that
know
moment, I was
nowadays.
convinced he was a ghost. The moment he said he worked in a cemetery, I was like, "Well, I already know he's a ghost."
You know what I think is weird? Like you mentioned that everybody that drives past Milledgeville Asylum, that they drive really, really fast, right?
Mhm.
Like super fast. So obviously people are like somewhat scared of the place, right? Maybe they think that they're going to be haunted if they, just drive at this speed limit by it. But being that those most people are afraid of it, isn't it weird that there's like people in the grounds digging for things that are not afraid of it at all?
Listen, and that's what kind of throws me off. Like, so let me start by saying when we arrived, my phone was at 72%.
Mhm.
And y'all, I have a good phone. I got the S22. I got the Samsung S22 Ultra Pro. So it's a really good phone. And so I'm over 70% battery. I started taking a couple of pictures, and I literally have posted every single picture and video I have taken. So there's nothing left out. I just literally moved my entire phone over to this video for all those pictures because I didn't want y'all to miss out on anything that I saw. But we ended up having to leave. We were going to stay a little bit longer, but we ended up having to leave because my phone died. In less than
That's
an
weird.
hour, there was so much energy in that area that it killed my battery. And
Wow.
people may be like, "Oh, you're overthinking it." But y'all, I know my phone, and I work in management for multiple properties. I spend half of the day on the telephone, and my phone has never died at 2 o'clock.
Yeah, you know your phone, you know how long it lasts. And it reminds me, so don't think ill of me, but I like the show Ghost Adventures.
Oh, I do too.
And I think it's so like this reminds me of every time they go like do a paranormal normal investigation, how like the batteries and like their cameras or whatever will drain.
Mhm.
I sometimes always think like, man, they're making this shit up. But no,
But
it's
listen, they're not, and but you can feel it, y'all. And when I don't know how to describe it in words. What you could feel. Like, especially at the moment, like, I zoomed in on this area right here, the picture y'all are looking at on the screen, because
mhm,
I couldn't figure out what was out there. And by the way, these are sandbags. Because we just had Hurricane Helene shoot through Georgia, and these
mhm.
sandbags were put up to try to stop additional flooding going into the buildings.
Okay.
But at first, from a distance, because like I said, you can't go that far. Um, or the bodyguards will come get you. Um,
Bodyguards. Is that because of the
we'll get there.
jail? Okay.
Oh no, this building right here is abandoned, but there are bodyguards on this campus. So
Okay.
I don't know why they call them bodyguards and not security guards. But I had to remind the person I was with multiple times that
Wait,
um
so who called them bodyguards? Did they call them refer to themselves as bodyguards, or
so when we see the video that you're gonna see later, you're gonna see one of them and the back of their jacket says bodyguard.
is that because they're protecting all the dead people?
Well, I think that they actually work for the open part of the facility, but
Oh,
maybe they
okay.
just occasionally check the grounds. Um, but
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I didn't talk to them. But that's one of the big reasons. The person I was with, she kept getting really scared about everything we were doing. She's like, "I don't want to get in any trouble." And I was like, "They are bodyguards. They can't arrest us. Like, I will talk trash to them all day long." um, so Then we get in, like, we're going back towards the car, and I look over, and y'all are going to see this tree. And I don't
Is
know
that a
why.
crutch?
Yep.
Why is there a crutch on the tree?
I have no idea. And somehow we missed it when we got out of the car because this is literally right in front of the car. Like, we parked right in front of this tree. And when we got back, there was a crutch in it. So I was just like, you know what? I'm going to take this as a sign that maybe it's time for me to start taking pictures and videos from the vehicle.
Yeah. Are you gonna stop walking?
Right. Like, I felt like it was a threat. So I was just like, all right, let me chill out, you know. Not to mention, like I said, you know, I am. So I don't know how to nicely say this. I have health conditions that affect my everyday life. And so when I was in this area, I was having a lot of problems breathing. Um, Not like couldn't catch a breath or anything like that, like not asthma, but my chest felt really tight and really heavy. And so, like, I was taking slow, deep breaths, but as soon as we left there, I was absolutely fine again.
Hmm, that's odd.
Um, So it was one of those things where, like, I was really hyped up on the dopamine part of, you know, oh, this is so cool. I've always wanted to see this. Um, but let's go onward. So we get into the vehicle. Oh, sorry. When I turned around to go get into the car, this was the building that I was facing to get into the vehicle. So this is another building on in Milledgeville. And we're going to drive over that building next, and you're going to see our little drive over there. On our drive over there, you can see that I had taken a picture of that's the building we're heading to. I just zoomed in and got that picture so that we could see how creepy it was before we got there. So we drive past the end part over here. And as we're
Mhm.
driving past the end, I just snapped this picture. And this was a very long ramp that goes all the way up the side of that white building. And so that is how they would have to get patients out of this building that couldn't walk down the front stairs. They would go up and down this long. And when I say long ramp, y'all, this was probably about a mile long, back and forth. Like, if you had to go all the way from the top floor down.
Hey, at least
Uh,
they didn't throw him out the window or something. It's better than the alternative.
unless you're at the main building, you know, that's where the snake pit was. However, you can see when you get on the side of this building that the ramp continues to go down after the
Hmm,
ground.
for what?
Which so let me jump over here. Apparently, underneath this asylum is 5 miles worth of tunnels.
Wow.
The patients would play hide and seek in these tunnels. They would use these tunnels to get back and forth between buildings without having to go outside because some people's punishment was no outdoor air
That doesn't sound healthy
at
at
all.
all.
And then look at what they were, you know, in. But see,
Women's
like, they
health.
even have like women's building chapel.
What does it say? Treatment?
It's like some letters and it says treatment center, so I'm assuming
Okay.
it was, you know, just like one of the counseling type things, but these signs are all throughout it. I just didn't save these aren't pictures I took, y'all. I pulled these pictures from the internet after finding out about the tunnels because I looked up why that ramp goes further than the ground does. Because I couldn't wrap my brain around it. I was like, "Listen, I know grass grows high, but it don't grow that high." Um
Ooh, that ramp was probably also to wheel down, like, bodies probably.
That's
Like,
exactly what I was thinking, I just didn't wanna say it out loud, so thanks for that.
"You're welcome, you can count on me."
So, yeah, that's these underground tunnels, they're still doing there's a lot of people on YouTube that are doing, like, kind of, like, tours of this and stuff like that. So, if you ever have time, please go check out any of those videos. I, am going to go ahead and put in my request for a tour, and wait for Georgia State to contact me back. But, you know, they pick and choose who they allow. So they'll probably watch this video and decide whether or not they like my attitude. So we probably won't get it, y'all.
We're fucked.
Right. I was just like, especially after the next part when they realize that, something talks to me or my friend. So then we pull around to the Walker building. Now, you could attempt to read this sign, like pause it and blow it up on y'all own, guys. But me and I know are not going to try to read it because it is
Nope.
so distorted.
Yep.
So next thing we're going to do is we're going to go into a video. And this video is taken kind of as we rounded the corner to go to the next building to take a look at it. I decided to start recording. And I don't even know what made me start recording. But something was just like, Amanda, hit video. And so I did. And you are going to hear a part. And I want to explain this. On my actual telephone, there's a part of the video right before my friend says, I'm not even connected. That is complete silence on my phone. And my friend can confirm that. I have no idea what's going to happen when I press play and let y'all hear it because I have not reviewed this prior. Like I said, I just uploaded everything onto this one little presentation to make sure that I shared everything with y'all. So, but she called me later and confirmed that what I thought that I heard, I did hear because when she played it on her phone after I sent her the video, it literally says it clear as day on her phone. However, on my phone, right before she says I'm not even connected, there's about 8 seconds of complete silence. Maybe
That's
not
your
8.
phone trying
Or,
to protect you.
well, and that's how I feel like the message wasn't for me. So, but we're going to see. We're going to see. And then I'll pause it and let y'all know what I heard if we can't hear it on this. So let's see together. Again, excuse language you're going to hear.
Oh, there's a car behind me.
Go ahead, car.
I know we're pulling over here. Go ahead. I know he didn't know, so I didn't go around and look at that. Oh, hell. Go ahead and look at them if you need to. Or, oh, this is pretty clear, isn't it? See, these people are assholes. They're not fun. It's trash. How creepy. Why do these people fucking like flying?
You can hear it. So, for those of you that would like to, please rewind. I'm not going to. However, I just heard it for the first time on the recording. Me and my friend tried to hear it multiple times on the way, driving the rest of the way back, and you could not hear it at all. But out of nowhere, sitting in her car, her radio yelled at us and said, "You're a pervert."
Yeah, I heard it clear as day. It's creepy as
Well,
hell too.
right. And then she looks at her phone and she says, "I'm not even connected."
Let's
Because
finish.
go
Let's
ahead.
let's go ahead and finish the video, and can we play it back one more time to hear it?
Yeah, we can play it
Hey,
back.
these people are assholes. They're not
Here we go.
fun. It's trash. How creepy. Why do these people fucking like flying?
Wow, that gives me chills. That is
You're a pervert.
so you're
It was
caught
so
pervert.
weird. And then here we go, because I knew I heard it. Because listen, when I heard that, y'all, literally the hair on the back of my neck stood up and my heart started racing. I felt like I was about to have a heart attack. But and y'all are going to notice this in this video, when I get scared or nervous, I laugh because it's who I am as a person. But I'll continue this part of the video.
My phone's not even connected. Well, who said that? Did somebody say something?
I don't know, but now the house is making noises.
What?
That your car just called us a pervert.
What?
It did. It said you're a pervert.
No,
I got it on video. video.
I'm a piss my. Oh, you're doing a video?
I have it on video.
Piss my pants.
Christina.
It says it. It say you're a pervert.
It did. I have it on video.
Oh God. Nah. But why that car come flying around us like that? Why are they all assholes here in Milledgeville?
Listen, this is kind of creepy.
Oh well, this is good. Okay.
Yeah, I'm recording.
Mandates in local water because the sources of water in Israel naturally produce fluoride levels that
At this point, her phone was still not connected. The radio just started telling us that the water was contaminated or something. I don't know, and that we needed to get water from Israel.
many parts of this country we put in water. But for people who freak out about fluoride in water,
Do this. I can't do this, y'all. Her car keeps talking to us. Oh man, I'm zoomed in. My makeup looks horrible, but I don't care. All right.
Is this car gonna turn? I want to go, but I want to go slow. Are they turning?
All right, so this is the main campus behind this thing. Oh man, look at all those keep out signs.
Oh yeah.
Gosh. Let's zoom in and see if we can get some ghosts.
Look at those busted windows and shit. Oh, God, this what we gotta get the staircase going. I mean the stairs going.
Oh yeah, I want a picture of the stairs.
Fuck.
All right, and now we're getting to the front door. Can we stop?
Oh yeah. Well, I was gonna get.
All right, so we stop at that point, and I get the picture of the stairs.
Christina
about
sounds adorable.
She is a country bumpkin. I love the way that she talks. And I mean, she grew up out here. So she spent her life in this area, and she actually told me that when she was growing up, her parents would threaten her with Milledgeville. Like when her and her siblings would act up, they would be like, "Don't make us drop you off at Milledgeville." And so growing up out in Georgia, that was like the threat that you gave your kids when they were misbehaving.
I once threatened my kids to send him to a boarding school, but then he Googled boarding schools and realized that they're really expensive and that
And so you
and that we're broke. So
you should threaten them with Milledgeville and let
I
them Google
should.
that.
Mhm.
So as we go along this tour, all the pictures you're seeing right this second are all going to be pictures of the main building. And this is the building that the
Milledgeville.
most people pass from.
Who's hanging there in that window? Look. What's in that window?
Let me see.
Or is that dirt? I can do. What's inside?
It's dirt. I think it's dirt.
What's this?
Oh, wait. I just saw something.
What did you see?
Yeah, I'm really not good at this.
All you people, can't you see? Can't you see?
What's inside?
It is dirt. But y'all can't tell me that this figure right here doesn't look like somebody's hanging in the window like she just said.
I don't see it.
So I just realized that I'm using my mouse on my computer screen and y'all But if you look right above, when you're looking at the window in front of you, right above where you can see the window in the background at the very bottom, right above that, there's like a black shadow. And I know that logically that's dirt, but that black shadow right there kind of does look like somebody hanging.
Okay.
So moving forward, I just saw it really quick. So I rewinded. I think it's dirt.
What's this? Those busted windows.
I know. So wouldn't the snake pit be on the back?
Yeah.
Did you hear that? Something just boomed inside the building. Boom again if you're trying to communicate. There's something in that window right there. And this is why y'all can't take me anywhere, because even though I might come off occasionally as a scary person, I'm not really afraid of anything because, I mean, I just feel like everything has a story, like the bear outside and, everything just wants to hug me and love me. So I wasn't afraid of the ghosts. I just wanted them to communicate without trying to scare me, like Beetlejuice. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mhm. Sure.
What is that? Like an old frame or something. Tell me if you're trying to communicate, Mr. Milledgeville building.
The whole building
Oh
is a
wow, even that
mister.
top part's open. Yes.
What are those cages so people can fall out?
I think it's to keep them from sneaking out. And so the snake pit would be on the back. I wonder if there's a way to get to the back. Is there a turn up there?
Well, that guy turned down here in the church, I think.
I don't know why I thought I'd see some snake.
What would you?
That's where the snake pit would be, is on my backside.
That was really spooky over there.
Yeah. All right, so at this point, we turn around, and what you're going to see on the right, originally we thought was just a field. But come to find out, this is one of the unmarked cemeteries.
Hmm.
Yeah, so this is the whole field in the middle of the campus. I guess this is where they let them get their sun and stuff. Wrong.
The graveyard's got to be in the same land. Look at that, though. That's so wild. I've seen this so many times.
I have no idea why I was recording
that's so
inside the car,
wild.
y'all.
Look at this car coming in through. That's so wild. So we'll drive. We'll go to the back so we can get back there.
Even the trees here look creepy.
Oh, yeah, no. Drive. Just like,
I took a picture of the tree that knocked at us.
oh, good. That was weird.
Oh. And y'all just heard me say that I took a picture of a tree that knocked at us. When we first got out of the car, we passed that tree with a crutch that we didn't notice, and then there was another tree. I thought I had taken a picture of that tree, but when I went back to find it, it wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I actually remember purposely stopping and taking a picture of this tree because as we walked past it, we heard. And I looked at Christina and I was like, did your phone just go off? And she goes, I was going to ask you that. And so I go, did that tree just knock at us? And so I immediately took a picture of the tree, made sure that the picture was visible, and then closed out the camera. Well, that picture is gone. So
I think that's a sign. I think Milledgeville was trying to communicate with you, and I think it wants you to go back.
oh, I'm definitely going back. And I just hope that whoever communicates with me isn't the guy that yelled at me and called me a pervert. Because he doesn't even know me like that.
And yet.
Right. I mean, it's one thing to call me a pervert if, like, I see him in his, skivvies or something at the point that we start communicating.
Well, may I remind you, you guys were like zooming into windows.
You're right. You might have been changing. But I think that a lot of that, like, interaction that comes through the radio and stuff like that when you're on that site is a lot of the reason why a lot of people fly through there. So that they don't get that eerie, creepy, somebody coming in through the radio thing happening.
Can you imagine if everybody that drives past there gets the "you're a pervert" message?
That would almost make my day. Like it's just to randomly get yelled at every day as I drive to work. You're a pervert. So are you, jerk face. But yeah,
God.
no, I mean there was definitely a lot of interaction here. And y'all, I'm not a ghost whisperer. I've never done a paranormal investigation or any of that. So this is all, and that's why I wanted to share this because this was all natural and it was happening as we were going. But the creepiness doesn't really stop here. So let's keep going. And it's not just the creepiness, but how abandoned and deserted and old and decrepit these buildings look. In my opinion, the buildings are like that because
so we can look at the side of that building.
Oh,
they
look at that.
The buildings so you can kind of see there a little bit more of that ramp.
Mhm.
But the buildings to me are like that, in my opinion, because it's making up for all the lives that were taken. You know, it's going to age fast. They were supposed to have already torn all this down. But because that one building is still standing,
Wow.
in minutes.
Right here. Right here.
So we got excited right at that moment because we thought that we were going to see the backside of the main building where the snake pit was, but it wasn't. It was a different building's backside. So then I turn off my camera for
You
a
are a
minute.
pervert. Peeping through windows, looking for the
Look at the
backside.
backside.
You want to
So
see
then I
some snakes?
this is the point that I realized my phone is draining very, very quickly.
Mhm.
And so I put my phone down for a couple minutes and we drive around and we're just looking at a lot of really torn down, crazy buildings. And then we start to drive up on this building, like towards this building. And as we're driving down the road, we see two men standing outside, out at the corner. And that's
Mhm.
when we found out about the bodyguards. Um, And so we kind of were acting like we were lost. We turned down this street. She went around the corner and turned around so we could come back. And we drove really slowly so that I could get these pictures. This is the last building being used. And you can see here it says Milledgeville State Hospital, state of Georgia. And this is the current 182 unit facility. And as y'all can see, that did not look, as y'all can see, that didn't look like a prison. It didn't look like you couldn't just walk out of it.
It looked like a
So,
school.
right. So at this point, I go to turn my camera back on and I can't get my camera to come back on because I wanted to record both of the bodyguards because both of them were watching us very closely. So you're going to see us kind of pull up and me roll up my window. I don't know. I'm rolling my window up.
What are them people over there? Is that why he's secure? What is that? Oh, there's no security. Hey.
She's so nice. She's like, hey. And it's funny because I didn't say hey because I was just nervous that only me and her could see them. And I didn't want to invite the ghosts into the car. So because that's how my brain works. I was just like, I don't want to invite them in. But as we turn this corner, I'm gonna try to pause it at the perfect time. Let's see. Oh, he was about to ask us if we need to get through. But no, we're just gonna keep going.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna hold my phone. All right. So if you look, there's a man right here. And then there's 4 cones next to him. The back of that man's jacket says bodyguard. And he's standing there and he's watching us so closely. And if you look a little further down, you can see 4 vendor trucks. And I'm not sure if he's guarding the vendor trucks,
Hmm.
the area, or what. But y'all, there were no people down there. So I wasn't sure what body he was bodyguarding.
That's Was there like I don't see a big building back there. Is there a big building
No, because there
or
wasn't. No, it's just a little road. And then as you go up a little bit, you're gonna see what looks like some apartments. But this
okay.
is in here. I'll actually go ahead and play it. So you'll see these little apartments come up. And I think that maybe they
Act like I'm not
used to use these right here, but I know that they're not currently in use.
I don't know.
So the grass
of vendors
road
over there,
right
though.
here.
They must
But
be
as
having
soon
like a
as you get to the
community
next
thing for the.
building that's part of this little area, you can tell
Okay,
that
let
the
me
grass
turn my.
is overgrown again.
Mhm.
See, and that's where that picture, you could tell that this again is abandoned.
Yeah.
So I think that that was just a way to keep that area clean. I also think because this was a Friday that maybe they were doing one of those vendor events for like doing something small for the people in the asylum.
Maybe. Maybe.
And if not, then the security guards in the area were having a party, and he was just making sure if their boss came that he could give them a heads up. I don't know, y'all. There were no people out there. Um, but both bodyguards watched us that were out there very closely. One tried to approach the car, like, and as he started walking towards the car, that's why you hear, Christina yell, "Hey!" And then we turn the corner
Yeah.
because I wasn't fit to roll my window down. What was he gonna do? He gonna arrest
What's
me?
what's your obsession? I feel like everyone that you have seen at this place, you've questioned whether they are real or not. The
'Cause
bodyguards.
that's the vibe I got from the moment I got there. Listen, I had moments I was questioning Christina, and she was the driver. It would have been my own fault if I got in a car with a ghost. Um, but I'm just naturally a suspicious person anyways. Like, you can be like, "Hi, my name is I know it," and I'll be like, can I see your license?" Um, and I may not really come off as a suspicious person, but I don't really take anything at face value. Plus, I also know logically that there has to be paranormal things out there. You know what I mean? I've seen so much proof. There's so many different documentaries and things like that that I'm not dumb, and I'm and I just personally feel like this. I feel like 90% of the human race is intelligent enough to know that ghost spirits or entities of some kind are real.
Yeah. I feel like ghosts are basically people that died and
Oh, that is
obviously.
exactly what they are. You're really good at this. I'm so proud of
Yes.
you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I feel like
Uh,
ghosts are like people that died. That's a really good observation.
shut up, Amanda. There was a statement after that. Like there was the phrase continued. Um anyways, I feel like ghosts are like people that died that had unresolved issues, had unresolved issues here on Earth. So they keep
Agreed.
trying to relive a moment. And that's why they get stuck in places. You know what I mean? Because I feel like they can't get out. They're trying to fix whatever situation. Um, like I know that you're not a fan. Like you don't watch Lucifer, right? But I have
I
watched.
actually just started it.
Really? Oh my goodness. I'm obsessed.
I only watched episode 1, but yeah, I just started.
Yeah, episode 1, I had to watch like a few episodes before I got hooked. But um so basically in hell, people that go to hell are people that have something that they feel guilty about, and that's why they end up in hell. And so
Great.
they keep reliving that guilty, that situation that makes them feel guilty over and over and over and over. And I feel like people that get trapped on Earth, are kind of sort of the same thing. I feel like they keep replaying something over and over and over, and they're stuck here. And until they resolve that, or somebody helps them resolve it, they're not going to cross over to the other side. But yes,
See, and
ghosts are
I
people
feel
that
like
died.
I could help all of the spirits at Milledgeville cross over. I could get their individual stories and help them get justice.
Sure. I mean, I would love to see you try to help the how many?
Do you think
25,000?
that that statement will help me get into the tour that they do?
You know, I think if anything in this episode helps you get into the tour, I would be shocked. So, yay.
Listen, if anything, I bet you they have that same voice. Somebody there, a nurse, a bodyguard, somebody knows who that man was that was calling me a pervert. And I think that they should at least release that information so I can press charges. Because you can't just verbally assault somebody like that without even knowing them.
Exactly. You need to go in and investigate.
I do. And if they have a problem with that, then I'm going to throw the invisible acorns that people pick up in the cemetery at them.
Or just throw the people at them. Just throw the
Oh, the zombie
possible.
people?
Yes.
That's what I'll do. I'll throw the zombie people at them. And then
I
probably the man in the black truck will come save me because after we left, my brain said it was him that called me a pervert.
I'm kind of annoyed at you. I'm not gonna lie. I have no clue why you didn't go up to the people. I want to know what they were doing. And I don't know why you just didn't go up to them and be like, "Hello, excuse me, ma'am or sir," or whatever they were.
Because I said
What are you
hello to them.
doing?
Because I said hello to them and they wouldn't stop looking at the ground. They wouldn't even look at me.
Okay, then you probably started wrong. You should have just gone with, "You're a pervert." And then they might have responded.
Should have been like, "You too, bitch." But see, that's my biggest thing is, you know, I don't okay. If I could see a person, then I know that they can physically touch me, then I may not approach if they're a little off.
Okay.
But a ghost can't hurt me.
Yeah, they can.
No, they can't. They'd have to hit me with something. What are they gonna do? They're gonna hit me with their arm and their arm's gonna go through my body?
No, they can possess you.
Oh, I don't care if they possess me. I
You
just don't want them to,
should.
like, hurt me.
Uh,
Listen, they're not gonna get in me anyways, and I'm not trying to, like I'm not trying to be like, "Oh, I'm this wonderful person, da da da." But I feel like I'm heavily protected and anointed and not on a like I'm not being like bragging. Again, I'm not doing that. I'm saying that because I have been through a lot in my life.
Mhm.
I can count, at least 100 times I should have died by now. And that's just off the top of my head. And I haven't. So if it's gonna be a possession that takes me out, then it's gonna be a possession.
Yeah.
Because there's no way. I just don't feel like whatever the higher power is would be like, "You know what? We're gonna take Amanda out by possession." But, I mean, if they're gonna, cool, that's a really cool way to go. That'd be a great episode.
Listen, I'm
Um
not shocked that you're not afraid because after some of the dudes you've dated, I mean, these girls are probably like a walk in the park, man.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah, these stupid narcissistic ghosts. I know, I read y'all from a mile away. "You're a pervert." Yeah, alright. You don't even know me and he's already love bombing me.
Yes. Yes, he is. Oh
Uh,
god.
so for the most part, what you're gonna see is a lot more just abandoned type buildings. Um, and then you're gonna see me taking pictures abruptly stop. Um, because that's when my phone just died. It just croaked. And again, I have no idea why. There was just so many magnetic powers in this area. Um, and I just said that like, were you singing?
Yes, because sorry, I sing sometimes whenever you say something and it comes so singing, "It's electric. Boogie, boogie, boogie. Na, na, da, da, da. It's
I said
electric."
magnetic though.
I know, but magnetic, not the same thing as electric, but battery is electric. So my brain just made all these connections.
This is the back of that white building from the beginning.
Mm, it looks like it needs a paint
And this
job.
is the admissions office that is all the way at the end of that white building.
Okay, so that's where I take my list of stupid people.
Yeah, yeah, you have to say idiocy. They don't
Okay.
do for stupid people.
Okay, so just idiot. Okay, I'll make sure I retype my my list.
And this
And
was the
that
last building that we really looked at before my phone just died. Um, Now I do wanna say in looking at this building, if you pause on the second frame of this building, you're gonna see a random light on. And naturally, the first person I showed it to goes,
Amanda. Amanda. You took yourself off.
so the funny part about that, y'all, is I was trying to remove the video.
And you took yourself
It's
off
okay. I
and
turned
kept
into a
talking. She ghosted us, y'all.
ghost.
Mm. Oh
So
God.
what I was saying is on that second picture, you could see a light on. And naturally, the first person I showed it to was like, oh, it's probably just the sun. But if you look at the picture, you can see that the sun is actually behind me. So the light, the way that it sits in there in the back hallway, could not have been from the sun. The sun would have had to be on the other side of the
Mhm.
building for that to have been like that. So, naturally, people are like, oh, it's probably a homeless person. It was probably something. I agree with all of that. But if you're homeless living in that building, please reach out to the state of Georgia because I am sure they will find some placement for you because there is no way you're sleeping with all those spirits every night and getting any kind of rest, especially with that really loud man. Um,
Yeah,
'Cause
somebody
I
should look
couldn't sleep
into
with
that.
someone yelling at me, calling me a pervert all night. Um, but so that was kind of my 45-minute to 55-minute experience at Milledgeville. Now I am gonna be going back and I am going to take backup batteries and chargers and things like that with me this time to make sure that I can capture an entire essence. And I'm going to spend a full day. I have gone ahead and done the application for a tour. I'm not sure if I'll get chosen, or elected or however they do it. But they do a tour bus thing out there also where they show you the entire grounds, including like the marked cemeteries, and you can ask questions. So I'm going to do that early next year. But I wanted to kind of give y'all the very first part of the experience and for our first episode, in a paranormal realm. We haven't done anything paranormal yet, and it's not something we really planned. However, when you go to a place like that and a ghost yells at you kind of feel the need to share it with people. So,
Yeah.
not to
Not o
mention what definitely happened there was a crime. It's just a
I just
different kind of crime.
I just wanna say that the next time you go, do take better pictures of the buildings because I have no idea. I have this, like, weird fetish with, like, architecture. I can't help but, like, look at the older buildings like this. I find them beautiful, and my brain starts thinking of how I would refurbish them and, like, bring them to new life. So, if you
Listen,
could take
I'm
more
going for
pictures.
paranormal activity, not for your architecture wants.
But Amanda, what if they
I
have
wanna get
original
some pictures
hardwood
of the
floors?
windows because I want everybody to take the time and pause on each one of those pictures and find the ghosts, because I personally found a couple of them,
Okay,
and
well, I'm sure there's some on the crown molding and on the original hardwood floors. You should take pictures of that.
how Imma take pictures of the hardwood floors from the outside?
Well, when you get the tour, don't want they won't let you in?
So, the tour that you get takes you around the outside of each building and through the tunnels.
Mm, so can we, like, break in? And by
So,
we, I mean you.
I absolutely think we can. The biggest kind of things that I'm working on is number one, I would need a really good distraction. So I would need to plan like someone to escape from the asylum at the same time that I break in a different building. So
Or
working on it, I got to figure out who's in the asylum first. And so either a big distraction or I'd have to go at night. And I can tell you that I'm a pretty not scared of stuff person, but I think anything at night would creep me out.
me too, but it would be so cool to go at night. I'd
No,
like
because I would pee my pants. Um, and I try really hard not to wear Depends, and I don't want that to be I don't want my last moments on earth, like, cause this is the thing, okay, y'all. I'm not afraid that a spirit would kill me. What I'm afraid of is the spirit would yell at me. I would then trip over my own foot because that's who I am as a person, hit my head on the cement and bleed out. And so I would die from tripping over my shoe. Um However, y'all, Milledgeville is real. And, we talk about true crime and murders all the time. And I don't know why the state of Georgia is not considered a serial killer because in my opinion, they just killed 25,000 people.
Oh, which reminds me, I wanted to say, well, actually, it doesn't remind me because it just occurred in my head. So I don't know
Okay.
why I said it reminds me. If you guys, if anybody has like any personal stories or knows of a story of something that happened at Milledgeville, please let us know because we would love to like do an extended like episode or maybe add it to whenever Amanda goes back again to see her boyfriend, the one that calls her a pervert.
Yeah, it's
Um,
his pet name for me.
so yeah, we would love to add those stories in there. If you have any stories, let us know.
And also down in the comments, y'all, please let us know if you believe in, spirits or ghosts or entities. And
Yeah.
let us know, what you think of tonight's episode.
And like and subscribe. Damn it. You're a
Always.
pervert. And join the fun in lieu of murder.